Greetings, my fellow children of the God Emperor. Welcome back to Rogue Trader. In the previous episode, we made our way to Dargonus. We explored a couple more worlds along the way, and ultimately didn't encounter all that much. However, we did have an altercation with fellow members of the Cognizance fleet, the Adeptus Mechanicus Explorators, who boarded our ship. They were allowed to board our ship, so it wasn't immediately hostile, and demanded the arrest of Pascal under some false pretenses of him giving his identification code to allow scrap code to infect Kiava Gamma, which is a world, the Forge world, or it's not really a Forge world, it has forges on it, but it's a world under our Protectorate. So Pascal has some sort of intrinsic connection to what happened on Kiava Gamma. Pascal denied everything, and I'm inclined to believe him because I believe there might be an imposter, another Haneman, because he was just attacked by another Haneman who was suffering from serious wounds, was barely being held together by the secular armor that he was wearing, and these wounds kind of drove him to act very rashly and out of rage. And he, even though we diffused things with Opticon 22, who was the diplomat assigned to the Adeptus Mechanicus team that boarded our ship, this secutor would not see reason, so we had to, unfortunately, terminate him, after which Pascal did some sort of reverent death rite, which discontinued the, I guess, mechanical, the machine spirits of the augmetics that lived within this secutor, which had all been broken down by the pain felt by their organic host, you could say. And this was revealed to be some sort of rite developed by the Archmagos Amarnat, who Pascal is a follower of. And Opticon 22 revealed that Amarnat is not actually a tech or a heretic. It's just plenty of the Cognizance fleet believe that he was, but the actual leaders of the Cognizance fleet never arrived on that verdict. So there's some interesting stuff going on with the Cognizance fleet and with Amarnat. I came to the conclusion that Amarnat might be some sort of equivalent of Angel of Death within the Adeptus Mechanicus' religious beliefs. That he basically brings peace to the broken and tortured machine spirits, which is, we've seen Pascal do something similar. So anyways, we're gonna head to Dargonus right here, and immediately head planet side. Yep, that looks, all these big cities all over the place. Let's begin our scan, see where we can land. So, we have two potential places, although there's an Administratum here, and we have the Von Valancius Palace. Okay, so we can immediately drop down to the Administratum territory. Ooh, I don't know what we should be doing first, because both of these... I think we should appear at our palace first. So, looking at who to bring, we definitely want Abelard. Heinrich's wanted to come along. Pascal, I think, is going to be wise to bring along. It might not be wise to immediately have Irliet be present. Might rub some people the wrong way. I think I'm actually just going to keep the group as is, although bringing a navigator along might be a good call. As she can then, showing that we have, the assistance of the House Orselio on board, I think would be quite good. So who do we leave behind then? I think I'm going to leave Jay behind. So this is going to be our respectable delegation. These are all characters that, the common public will, the common public and the other nobles and everything will be forced to respect. I mean, they might be terrified of Cassia, but this will be our delegation, our official delegation party. All sanctioned members of the Imperium. Probably. Still not quite sure about Pascal, but certainly better than an unsanctioned Psyker, a literal Xenos, and a smuggler. So, we drop down into the Von Valancius Palace. Ooh, very cool. We get ourselves a little bit of a, glory to the Rogue Trader. Long live the Rogue Trader! I have a feeling something bad's gonna happen. Something bad always happens. Sketchy nobles whispering to each other. our personal guards, we have our personal army. Seems like everything's in relative working order. I mean, servo skulls with powdered wigs flying around, that's still just sub 40k. That's just so ridiculous. I love it. I like that you see the accessories, like the med kits and everything, on the characters. Clementia Wersarian. Oh, hello. You a daughter? I think you're probably a daughter of Pascal? Abelard. The Emperor protects. Welcome home, your ladyship. The stately woman in a long dress uniform makes a graceful curtsy. Her short, graying hair does not obscure her stern features. Maybe wife. No, he was a widower. Wait, is that how you call that? Fuck, is that the opposite? I don't know. Ex-wife? I mean, could be graying hair, could still be a daughter. Juvenat treatments. Pascal's probably had some. He's probably a lot older than he looks. He already looks fairly old. Guess we'll find out. I'm Clementia Wersarian, Court Chancellor of the von Valancius dynasty. On behalf of all of Dargonus, please accept my deepest condolences on the untimely passing of Theodora von Valancius. Her departure is a terrible blow to us all. But as one star expires, another always flares to life. And, although still overcome with bitterness and grief, your subjects hope that you will become the Trade dynasty's guiding light in these trying times. Clementia, Abelard gives a reserved nod. She nods in return, and the lines on his brow soften ever so slightly. Okay. Definitely family, I mean, obviously. The young man quickly brings a respirator to his burnt face and bows his head courteously. His raven black hair veils his burns and skull implants, and his thin metal fingers creak quietly as he offers a welcoming gesture. Okay, we've heard this name as well. Achilles Scalander, Secretary at the Administratum Department. I hope your journey to Dargonus was not darkened by unwanted troubles. I'm not going to say it was uneventful, because that would be a lie. The Emperor protected us on our journey through the stars. Achilles makes the sign of the Aquila. And may he remain merciful to us till the end of time. Does your ladyship wish to survey the grounds, or perhaps we could sate your curiosity by answering any questions you might have? Governor Urbend Drivestem has been notified of your arrival on Dargonus, and will visit the palace shortly. The preparations for the official visit are well in hand, but your ladyship still has plenty of time before the meeting. Yeah, let's, hold on a moment, Clementia. What did you say your last name was? Clementia nods politely. You heard correctly, your ladyship. I am of House Wersarian, Lord Abelard's granddaughter and direct descendants. Wow, even she's already gray as well. Okay, so Abelard must have some serious Juvenat treatments going on. Who knows how old he actually is. The succession of service is an effective good. It grants new generations understanding of their function within the mechanism. Chancellor Wersarian has held her position at the von Valancius court for many years. She earned Lord Captain Theodore's respect through acts of great perseverance. There's no room for doubt, blood had nothing to do with it. The Emperor blesses those who strengthen humanity's domain through their deeds. You have reason to be proud of your progeny. Abelard looks at you in surprise, but then immediately puts on an air of indifference. Thank you, Lord Captain. I would like to rest before the meeting. Where are my chambers? They are very close, just down the hall. Oh, Achilles, sorry. Wrong voice. They are very close, just down the hall. That is also where the study and the audience chamber are. Achilles' face brightens with a pearly white smile, restoring some of his former good looks. Lady Theodora's study has remained locked since her last departure, but on account of your arrival, we've arranged for it to be tidied up. It is ready whenever you may need it. Why isn't the governor here to greet me? Apologies, your ladyship. Governor Drivestem's residence is on the other side of the world, at the administrative palace of Dargonus. We sent word as soon as you entered system, but it takes time to travel great distances of your domain. Chancellor Wersarian seems unruffled, but you cannot shake the thought that this governor's lateness is a subtle political gesture designed to test the limits of what is acceptable when it comes to interacting with the new rogue trader. Indeed. You are dismissed.
I apologize for my bluntness, but I have a request to make. Perhaps before the meeting takes place, the illustrious Lord Captain could spare a few minutes for a conversation with me.
Achilles bows his head.
I'm certain that you will find my report on the state of affairs in the von Valancius Protectorate most useful.
Of course. We will humor his request. See what he has to know. Alright, it's just me now. Alright, let's see what we have. Let's see what our territory... Oh, Jay is talking there with some nobles. Alright. Oh, cool. It's like another hub. Got a tarantula las cannon here. Long live the rogue trader. Good. They've been trained well. You can toss a coin into the fountain. Talk to Jay here. Such illustrious society. Such well-heeled nobles. Indeed, it would be worth visiting Dargonus. Even without getting to know you, Cyrene. This world offers huge scope for doing business.
This could be an opportunity.
What, to toss a coin? Doesn't look like a witcher, so... what's the harm? Oh, there's goods as well. Glinting in the light, the coin falls into the clear water and sinks to the bottom. Other games would take away 1 gold from you. Thankfully, this isn't taking away 1 profit factor. That would suck. Like, what did we throw in there? An entire planetary wealth of... something. Okay, some goods. Are we looting the things that were thrown into the... oh no, there's some flasks here. Well, I'm looting it anyways. Screw it. Some aristocrats, some more nobles. Kiabagama messengers. Ooh, that might be interesting. Shady character. And more goods. What a lovely day it is, your ladyship. Your presence only makes it better. Attack use. We only have 75% chance of opening it, but we succeeded nevertheless. We'll be looting our own estate. Of course we will. What's this? An ancient cogitator linked to the palace's system networks. Okay. Augurator tech priests? So the ones that man the augur systems, I guess? Interesting. I love it. Like, sci-fi stuff all over the place. Wooden scaffolding. The walls of your home suffocate me, Evantak. I long to leave this twisted world at the first opportunity. Yeah, I'm sure we'll be out of here before too long. The living, fruit-bearing tree in the heart of the hive world is a fantastical sight. Oh, it's a hive world, even. They probably use a lot more water to tend this tree than the average Dargonus citizen can hope to receive in their daily ration. You know, as is expected. Janus. Okay, delegations from Janus. Head of Janus delegation. The Janus delegation salutes you, your ladyship. Alright. We have anyone here? No, but we've got loot and a fight today sign. Whole lot of stuff here. More holy gifts. Mechanicus crew. And even more holy gifts. Ashes of the faithful. Yeah, it's almost like a full crate of holy gifts there. And anything going on out here? We can check. This was where we came in, but I'm just going to look around. Seems to be similar finds all over the planet. Many sages and acolytes of the arcane sciences were puzzled over this trophy brought from a forgotten world on the outskirts of the Cornus Expanse. Interesting. Turn your gaze to this object, which has invested special significance. We have some suspect-looking objects. What have we here? The plaque lists the names of each rogue trader to have led the von Valancius dynasty, dating back to the day the capital world was founded. Like possibly a very long time ago. I wonder where the rest of the characters are. It seems like it's just Irliet and Jay. Which leads me to think it's only the ones that you don't have in your immediate crew. But we can go all over the place, so this is quite cool. If there's loot anywhere. There's always loot somewhere. More aristocrats. Oh, Argenta's here. Never mind. So it's just certain characters are present. Of course she's at the shrine. In the name of the Golden Throne, we live and die so that we may protect his light from the obliterating darkness. Standing upon the altar is an ancient image of Saint Macarius. Okay, wow. Its regal frame is covered in marks. The relic was claimed in a battle on a remote and forgotten world. So Saint Macarius was, well, Macarius was a war master of the Imperium who led a massive crusade I can't remember exactly where in the Imperium, but it was a very big deal. That looks like loot. I've been deceived. It was not loot. How could this be? Alright, let's head inside. Enough dilly-dallying. Perhaps there's like a whole nother segment in the Von Valancius Palace. Maybe we'll find the rest of the characters and what they're doing in their idle time. It's always interesting to see what they're up to. Iliad standing by the one tree makes sense. Jay talking to some nobles. Argenta at the shrine of Saint Macarius. Perhaps we can add a shrine to Saint Argenta at some point. I'm sure she would appreciate that. Okay, the warden, more aristocrats. Oh. Welcome, your ladyship. Let me inform you of the location of the chamber on your dynastic estate. Okay. The main throne room is up the stairs and straight ahead. Your subject, Achilleus Scalander, informed me that he humbly awaits the opportunity to meet with you there. Yes, of course. Up the stairs and straight ahead. If your ladyship wishes to rest after your long journey, then your personal chambers are up the stairs and on the right. Does give us plenty of time to read these ones. I just wish it would be a little bit shorter for these and a little bit longer for the other ones that randomly pop up. If you need anything, whatever your soul desires, I'll be right next to your chambers, eagerly awaiting your orders. Alright. Goods. Yeah. I'm taking all of this. Still none of the other characters here. We have some interesting relics, some skulls, by the looks of it. The handrails must be polished 5 times a day. Yeah, very important. More aristocrats. Okay, so this is the door to our own chambers. We won't head there immediately. We're going to talk to Achilleus Scalander first. We'll humor his request. We shouldn't be seen as being immediately tired. That wouldn't be wise. What do we got here? According to the inscription of the statue, this is a gift from the House Gaprak to the Von Valancius dynasty. I don't know who the House Gaprak is, but I'm sure it's somebody relevant. What I do know is that there's loot here. And Cassia, what are you up to? Beautiful. Sublime subdermal gems, rare cloth dyes, and engraved flasks. It's cool that the loot that you find in places actually says a bit about it, too. Like, it's not just, like, random. What do you say? My compliments to your taste in art. The collection here is extensive and most interesting. Yeah. I got this one on my wall at home. Oh, man. Yeah. Do I have this one? I don't think so. Okay. I was like, hey, wait a minute. I recognize that. That's official Warhammer 40k art. I have it in a poster. Got it at the local game shop here in Groningen, which is a great game shop. Great. Awesome place to hang around. Okay, more aristocrats around here. And more loot. Maybe some more art. That's Adeptus Sororitas, by the looks of it. Yeah, let's grab this loot. Any stuff to find. Vials of soul essence, motive force conductors, and masterful cameos of saints. Achilleus Scalander and Heinrichs are talking. Right, Heinrichs was the one that mentioned Achilleus Scalander. That he's an agent of the Golden Throne. He's an inquisitorial agent. That was it. I remembered him from somewhere, but I was blanking on it at that exact moment when I said that, so... Interesting. Well, we have Clementia here. Let's quickly talk to her. Your ladyship. Clementia bows her head politely. For chancellor to a rogue trader, she is dressed rather simply. A parade doublet, polished boots, and a comfortable cloak. She bears a saber in a gilded scabbard. Whether for show or protection, one could not say. Only her ring with the Wersarian coat of arms indicates that she is of the highest social stratum. Yeah, the Wersarians seem very just nondescript. Actions rather than appearances, which I like very much. The governor is waiting on the periphery of the palace. Please let me know when you would like to see him. So we succeeded in an awareness test. The sharp gaze, the impeccably straight back, the composure. For a moment you feel like you're looking at a younger version of Abelard himself, not just his heir. Judging by the scars on the exposed parts of her body, Clementia saw her fair share of combat prior to assuming the position of Chancellor, so Saber is definitely not there just for show. That's good. What are your responsibilities as Chancellor? To put it simply, I am your trade representative. Any and all decrees, deals, official communication, and meetings are first reviewed by me and then forwarded to you, and from you down to the hierarchy. So, she's our seneschal, so it runs in the family. My purview also includes overseeing your ladyship's property, the palace, the estates, the many gardens, and other domains on Dargonus that you have inherited from Lady Theodora, and whether you are present on Dargonus, consider me your personal secretary. Yeah, whenever you are present. What can you tell me about Dargonus? All deals and important decisions are made here in the capital. Many years ago, an ancestor of Lady Theodora signed an agreement with the Adeptus Administratum, which allowed for efficient management of the world and the neighboring systems. In accordance with the decree, a share of the planet's population was assigned to the Administratum and converted into servitor scribes. That sucks. They now toil across the entire world. Dargonus is also the seat of several noble families who run all the major planets in the Protectorate. If I may express my not-so-humble opinion, they care very little about who exactly stands at the helm. Those piranhas think about their own profits just as much as they do about the prosperity of the Protectorate itself, if not more. To be expected. And lastly, Dargonus has its own fleet, a luxury unavailable to the vast majority of other worlds in your realm. In addition to warships, the Protectorate also employs privateer ships, which are used to transport cargo between worlds. Does the capital stay in contact with other worlds in the Protectorate? Unfortunately, not at this time, your ladyship. After the few representatives of the Adeptus Astra Telepathica on Dargonus went into a frenzy, some of the Psykers were tragically pacified by their respective authorities. AKA, shot in the head. Since then, communication with the neighboring systems has been unreliable at best. Thanks be to the Master of Mankind that you managed to find your way to the capital. If the noble houses are so volatile, what sense is there in keeping them? Over the many centuries, an intricate hierarchy has formed within the ruling elite of Dargonus. The great houses do more than plunder your treasury. It is replenished, to a large degree, thanks to their administrative work and their lands. Naturally, you can get rid of anyone whom you consider surplus to the requirements, but for now, it could threaten the fragile stability that is currently holding the Protectorate together. Of course. Are there any other issues I should be aware of? Apart from the disrupted communications, Dargonus was recently raided by enemies of humanity. However, the fleet under the command of Captain Marthius Wissarion, another Wissarion, triumphed over the accursed Xenos. If you ask for my opinion on this matter, we have the situation completely under control. In your case, I'll trust you. You catch her avoiding your gaze for just a moment. For the first time, it's obvious that Clementia is looking out for her house's good name, but despite the confidence in her tone, you can tell she actually does not entirely believe her own words. Okay, never mind. I take that back. Tell me about Governor Drivestem. Urbend Drivestem is a well-respected man, not just on Dargonus, but throughout the Protectorate. For many centuries, his house has supported the capital's administration and logistics between the von Valancius systems. The Drivestem's efforts secured years of order and prosperity for Dargonus. What's more, Lady Theodora personally insisted that Lord Urbend specifically be made the next governor. The way you speak of Drivestem, I hear a hint of either contempt or resentment. No, I don't believe I feel either, your ladyship. Clementia's steely eyes stare into the distance, her jaw clenching visibly. She speaks in a polite but clipped manner, clearly frustrated by your insight. We have different views on how to run a world. We sometimes have discussions over the laws that are enacted. But we both work on the good of the von Valancius Protectorate. That much can be said without a doubt. Thank you for your report. And Achilles Scalander, does he cause any problems? Why, none at all, your ladyship. Secretary Scalander is an outstanding individual and a loyal servant of the von Valancius dynasty. In Lady Theodora's absence, we collaborated on a number of issues to the well-being of your domain, and he has proven himself quite capable. And I don't know why, but even the governor trembles before Achilles, which is unusual for a man of his, shall we say, standing. The last word brings a slight smile to her lips. Yeah, if he's a throne agent. The governor can wait a little longer. I still have matters to take care of. Certainly, your ladyship. However, her thin lips twist slightly. I do not concern myself with the governor's feelings, but I must warn you, your actions or inaction may be interpreted in a certain way. Now, if your ladyship will excuse me. She's very forward, but at the same time, she is concealing things. What does Adira say?
Ah, good old Dargonus. It's boring here without Lady Theodora. She loved to liven up this sleepy place with a couple of crazy decrees and public floggings of flabbergasted nobles.
It's boring here without Lady Theodora. Adira, you're, no, I'll say nothing. Von Valancius dynasty throne is a visible symbol of the rogue trader's power, which now belongs to you. Sometimes words. Alright, Pascal, what do you say? My appearance has caused a slight disturbance in the ranks of the servants of the Omnissiah assigned to this palace. Analysis of the performance of rituals and maintenance litanies has produced a satisfactory result. Okay, everything's working fine, then. That's good. It seems like everything here is in order. Let's talk to Achilles. You're talking to Heinrichs. Let's talk to Heinrichs first, real quick.
The lack of observers on this world has led to your nobles to become extremely complacent. Today alone, I overheard 3 statements that, if I so wanted, could be turned into grounds for a charge of heresy.
Okay. The slender figure, clad in robes made from expensive fabric, shudders from violent coughing. Pressing a gilded respirator to his face, the man takes several deep breaths.
Achilles, it's been many moons. I hope your cousin is feeling well.
Achilles covers his burnt lips, trying and failing to suppress a coughing fit.
She is in good health. She sends her regards to you, as well as her wishes for your swift return.
Heinrichs frowns. For as long as the stars shine in the sky, my vigil continues.
So it does.
Achilles thumps himself on the chest with his augmented hand. You hear the clanging of metal against metal.
I'm not so foolish as to fail to notice a conversation in code.
Your insight deserves credit, rogue trader. Then again, I expected nothing less from Theodora von Valancius' successor. Heinrichs looks at Achilles. Allow me to introduce Achilles Scalander properly. In addition to his duties as Secretary of the Administratum, he acts as an agent of the Golden Throne under my aegis. Master Scalander was transferred into my remit by a colleague who is engaged in other matters in the Coronus Expanse. I'm sure you will find Achilles' service useful, especially when dealing with the schemes of humanity's foes within the borders of your protectorate.
Greetings, Lady Cyrene von Valancius. Allow me once again to express my deepest condolences on the loss of Lady Theodora. I will do everything I can to track down and destroy all of Conrad Voigtvir's accomplices on the capital world.
Do you know anything that has become of Conrad Voigtvir? The former Master of Whispers is a heretic and a traitor to the dynasty. Achilles nods grimly.
Word of his treason reached Dargonus too late.
Conrad came to the planet and left it almost immediately once he had sown discord in the minds of the gullible and naive. The worst of the rumors he started was that you were the one responsible for Lady Theodora's sudden demise. Of course, your loyal subjects did their best to skin alive any who showed signs of doubt. But it seems unlikely that the Wardens got to everyone who has allowed doubt into their heart and now nurtures it in secret. The scars on your face. What happened? He coughs. 5 years ago, there was an accident. Several tanks of promethium exploded in the storehouse at my estate, and I was buried alive under the rubble. The Emperor preserved my soul, and the skilled physicians of Dargonus saved my body, except for my lungs, with which I had to part. I presume the incident was an attempt on my life, but the identity of whoever was behind it remains a mystery. Interesting. What are your responsibilities here on Dargonus? Officially, I'm a secretary at this world's administratum department. Less officially, I'm afraid I can't disclose that even to you. In short, I collect and investigate reports of heresy taking root on upstanding planets of the Imperium. Above all else, I am concerned about the Xenos threat that hangs over the entire Coronus Expanse, including your protectorate. Sadly, my mission was complicated by the recent warp disturbances. I am still trying to re-establish contact with many of my agents.
Tell me about the Xenos. The residents of the local systems are no stranger to skirmishes with enemies of humanity, but recently the loathsome beasts seem to have completely flown off the handle. We've received reports from ships that made it through the warp to Dargonus. Both they and the colonies that they departed from were being attacked. We have identified the breed of Xenos that pose this threat, the Drukhari, humanity's ancient and insidious foes. Be vigilant on your travels. The Xenos will undoubtedly attack a rogue trader's ship should they find the circumstances to be in their favor. Okay. Drukhari. We still haven't encountered any Drukhari. We fought Eldari ships, but not Drukhari ships. Interesting. Unfortunately, in the host of humanity, there are those who are willing to grovel before our enemies in the hopes of a valuable reward. You may be interested to know that we are on the trail of such heretics. Overwhelming evidence indicates that a marauded void station in Langren's Belt is being used as a base by a band of pirates who are not above dealing with Xenos. I was unable to persuade the Chancellor of the need to dispatch a ship there, but perhaps you would like to pay a courtesy call to these scoundrels yourself.
Already done that.
About your unofficial work.
Yes. I don't...
Whom do you truly serve, the rogue trader or the interrogator of the Inquisition?
Achilles quickly glances at Heinrichs.
And whom does the rogue trader serve? The Golden Throne? The Protectorate? Could it be that one stems from the other? And if so, is there any sense in discussing it?
I'm not going to say either of these two things, so that's going to be all. I'm not going to press him. I know my place, and not to mess with the Inquisition.
Do you have anything about the Cult of the Final Dawn? My knowledge is deplorably limited, your ladyship. All my attention has been focused on tracking Xenos activity. I'm certain that Master Van Kalox can tell you much more about these heretics than I.
Other questions to ask. You promised me a report on the present state of affairs in the Protectorate.
I have already forwarded all official reports to your Seneschal. As for the conversation we're having right now, don't trust any paper or data slate with its contents. You see, Lady Theodora, may the Emperor have mercy on her soul, was perfectly aware of Dargonus' political environment. You, however, have only just arrived on the capital world, and I thought it would be best to bring you up to speed. Frankly, the nobles of Dargonus, much like the nobles on most worlds, are akin to spiders in a jar, ready to pounce on whoever is the weakest, or whomever they deem to be the weakest. The nobles of Dargonus are well-respected, rich, and powerful individuals who held Lady Theodora's favor for many years and found ways to rise above the rest by diligently serving the rogue trader. Every family pursues its own selfish interests, and each one expects that with the transition of power, they will retain and even add to their lands and wealth. The families I would recommend giving particular attention to are the Drivestems, the Gapraks, the Sourbacks. I would also mention the Wersarians, not a noble house per se, but a family that was part of Lady Theodora's inner circle, to the Blue Bloods' great displeasure.
Okay.
Tell me about the Drivestems.
This is, of course, the governor's family.
The Drivestems are a wealthy governor house of the Dargonus. Predictably, the greater the wealth of the von Valancius Protectorate, the fuller their coffers grow. Their reputation is flawless except for one detail. We have evidence that Urbend Drivestem's rivals seem to have the misfortune of regularly falling victim to Xenos raids. I find that these attacks are always a little too advantageous for the Drivestems, but we lack solid proof, and it may never surface.
Interesting.
The closer an official is to a rogue trader, the braver and safer they feel. I would just like to remind everyone that rubbing shoulders with Xenos is a heresy that can be overlooked only in the case of the von Valancius heir, not her servant.
Indeed.
What makes the Gapraks special? The Gapraks hail from a remote forge world, and among their distant relatives there are many servants of the Omnissiah, and the house itself is close to the cult of the Adeptus Mechanicus, both in spirit and their business connections. The Gapraks oversaw the industrial shipments within your protectorate until recently. Ever since the astropathic communication with Kiava Gamma was severed, they've been quite concerned about the security of the planet placed in their care.
Okay. less concerning about them. Maybe we can even help the Gapraks.
And what can you tell me about House Sauerback? Religious and hard-working, the Sauerbacks own many enterprises, including distillation manufactorums that produce promethium. I must note that lately members of the Sauerback family have been prone to overly liberal statements about the von Valancius dynasty. They believe that Lady Theodora is a bit too keen to leave her worlds without proper insight, or oversight. And I would like to know more about the Wersarians. The Wersarians are a line founded by Lady Theodora Seneschal, and as such are nominally considered nobility, at least from the standpoint of the Imperial Navy from which Lord Abelard hails. On Dargonus, however, their position is precarious. Firstly, they never were granted an official title, a process which has been impeded for decades by the old houses of Dargonus. And secondly, the other families do not see them as equals, but more as upstarts clinging to the rogue trader's favor. The Wersarians are responsible for the capital world's fleet and the majority of the cargo shipments on domestic routes. No. Enough about the nobles. Was there anything else you wanted to report? There was, your ladyship. And this time it concerns the main reason for my presence on this planet. Xenos and the threat they pose both to you and humanity as a whole. The last few months have been difficult for the people who report to me, my eyes and ears scattered throughout the Coronus expanse. Warp disturbances, astropaths overcome with madness, ships disappearing in the immaterium. Many of my observers and contacts have gone dark, or have been killed by some calamity or other. Still, I managed to establish communication with some key individuals who were able to warn me about incoming threats, including Xenos raids.
Achilles looks at you in the eye without blinking.
It is within my power to supply you with intelligence on where and when the Xenos will strike next. I do not doubt that Governor Drivestem will beg you for protection against the Xenos, and in this fight, the information from my contacts will serve you well. I beseech you, Cyrene von Valancius, if I ever report a threat looming over a ship or a planet, do not dismiss it. Sometimes it takes the intervention from the rogue trader and her mighty void ship to avert disaster.
Very well. I must take my leave.
Achilles bows. According to the message I received a few minutes ago, Governor Drivestem has arrived at court. I cannot imagine that the Chancellor is already prepared to arrange the meeting. All that's left is to notify her that you are ready to see Urbend.
Let's go see Urbend. He won't rest beforehand. Can we tell him that we've sorted the problem on, No. Okay.
Your ladyship, Governor Drivestem is waiting for you in the audience hall. I advise you to respond to this lateness in kind. That way you can let Urbend know that his behavior has not gone unremarked. But I would not delay long. Right now, the court is closely observing your every step. Tell them that I am ready to see the governor.
Clementia bows before leaving.
I shall arrange for him to be escorted to your study.
Alright. 2 hours have passed. Interesting. I like that it says that.
Cyrene von Valancius, 20th in her line, rogue trader, keeper of the Sacred Warrant, and ruler of the Coronus Expanse, from the Cranach system to the 100 Dreams Crossroads, I bid you welcome. Urbend Drivestem, governor of his great world, or of this great world, first and foremost, please accept my deepest condolences. It will be difficult to recover from the loss of a woman as great as Theodora von Valancius. It pains me to think that she is no longer with us. The citizens of Dargonus and of the entire Protectorate grieve alongside you. Please allow us to declare a half year of mourning so that we can honor the memory of the beloved lady.
We'll give him what he wants.
It's all the same to me. Do as you see fit.
I'm not gonna be arrogant, and I'm not going to give Theodora more credit than she deserves, because we definitely know some sketchy things about her.
I will immediately give all necessary instructions, your ladyship.
He casually presses a few buttons on his cogitator. On the cogitator built into his gold bracer.
Esteemed Cyrene von Valancius, Lady Theodora was a strong leader, and we ought to follow her example. Let us lean on our wisdom and persevere in spite of this tragedy.
Together, and let us carry on where she no longer can by leading the von Valancius Protectorate to even greater prosperity. Do you have a powdered wig? Not sure. I can't really... Yeah, he's got a powdered wig. Fancy armor. Yeah. I wish there was art for him. Drivestem gives you a look of admiration. It seems that he is quite aware of your fame, and this opportunity to curry favor with such an eminent figure is one he does not want to miss. Miss. So I'd also like to point out his last name, Drivestem. Seems like he also comes from an Imperial naval line, a very old Imperial naval line, so one older than the Warsarians. Possibly even a commoner family. Because you get these names that just stem from, like, an object or perhaps a profession. At least throughout our history, that usually indicates that it was a commoner's line that somehow got elevated, and that's the name they chose for themselves or the name that was given to them. So it's interesting in this case. He's clearly, like, the Drivestems have clearly been active long enough that they are well seated within the nobility now for that not to be an issue anymore, but I'd be interested to know where they came from. There is something in Drivestem's gaze that you find troubling. Is it a hint of reproach, mockery, condemnation? You are uncertain whether this is indeed true, or merely your guilty conscience playing tricks on you, stirring up memories of your past under the governor's keen gaze. Decision consequences. You suffered shame and humiliation sometime in your distant past. Alas, it won't be an easy task to accomplish. Some time ago, the astropaths of Dargonus flew into a rage, and they had to be subdued. We are gradually restoring our ability to speak with neighboring worlds, but the contacts are still weak, and the roots are tangled and no longer lead to the systems that the captains expect them to. Given that the vast majority of ships in the Dargonus Navy travel without relying on the service of navigators, without your engagement, the well-being of the von Valancius dynasty and billions of its subjects is presently at risk. We met a ship from Dargonus not long ago. The crew was transporting a strange artifact and went mad during the fight. This is a truly regrettable bit of news. What's more, leaving Dargonus was forbidden for several cycles now. It seems the Warsarian family has once again failed in their primary responsibilities. He shoots Abelard a condescending look. We will investigate this at once, as well as the fact that the ship had to acquire a permit with the Administratum seal. Does your nephew still serve at the Administratum Palace? A biting right back. Abelard is not unfamiliar with how to return barbs to the nobles. The governor presses his thumb on the buttons of his cogitator built into his bracer and looks up at you in surprise. I don't understand. The ship did indeed depart from orbit, but it did so, if you can believe it, on the rogue trader's authorization. That is why no one dared to impede its departure. Interesting. Lord Captain, it would seem that Conrad somehow got his hands on a copy of your authorization, or perhaps even the original. A tool like that in the hands of a traitor does not bode well. Conrad Voigtveer, former Master of Whispers, is a heretic and a traitor. Has he shown his face on Dargonus? Governor pensively strokes the rings glittering on his fingers. Lord Voigtveer visited the capital some time ago, but he did not request a personal meeting. A heretic, you say? Now I see where all the whispering in the corridors has come from. I shall be frank with you, your ladyship. Lady Theodora's sudden death was a blow to every one of us, and the absence of any sort of verifiable and complete information about her successor gives grounds for all manners of rumors and misinterpretations, especially if someone is deliberately inciting unrest and discontent. Naturally, none would dare challenge you by accusing you of something as sacrilegious as murdering a rogue traitor. However, Conrad Voigtveer was once a true boon to the Protectorate back in the day, and as such, some might heed his words. I think I'm gonna go with Iconoclast here. Silencing everything might just make it worse. And again, not silencing it might also make it worse. My subjects' doubts are understandable. Too many things have changed in too short a span. I will prove myself worthy of my position. Why, Cyrene von Valancius, your desire is most commendable, but please do not forget, a ruler should never bow to their attendants, or some might see it as a show of weakness. What exactly do the Dargonus nobility expect from me in the light of the loss of roots and communication with other worlds? We are troubled by the fate of the agri-world Janus that supplied Dargonus and other planets with foodstuffs. Empty stomachs can drive even the mildest rabble to revolt. Furthermore, House Gaparak is perturbed by the loss of communication with the industrial world Kiavagama, which is in their charge. But if you wish to know my opinion, the world that deserves your attention the most is the penal world of Viabos 6, one of the key mining suppliers in your protectorate. Such intriguing concern for the Viabos 6 outpost. Doesn't your house happen to own the extraction stations there? Drivestem's beady eyes widen in fear. Your ladyship, I beg of you, do not interpret my words as an attempt to influence your decisions in any way. You see, without Viabos 6, the manufactorums on your worlds will need to make haste to find new suppliers elsewhere and arrange new shipments. And in these troubling times, they run the risk of delays and other most tragic mishaps. My only concern is for the prosperity of the von Valancius dynasty. Yes, of course. In any case, I've already visited the agri-world Janus. Governor Viat found herself facing a number of problems in my absence. Truly, the Viat line is one of the oldest in the von Valancius Protectorate. If the inheritor of one such well-respected blood could not handle what had befallen her, then the situation must have been extraordinary indeed. Vistenza succumbed to worshipping the ruinous powers and was executed. Give him Drivestem paled in terror. It is clear from the unseemly grimace on his aristocratic countenance that his fear is not feigned. Ruinous powers. Truly horrifying news. I commend your resolve and unwavering severity. Death to the enemies of humanity. That does it for planets and trade routes. What else? Xenos, your ladyship. I don't rightly know where to begin. Otherworldly beasts are not an uncommon sight in the Cornus Expanse. They have been a menace to the worlds of this side of the Maw for decades, but now those abominations are on the rampage. They show no signs of fear as they attack ships, either damaging them or to the point where they become unfit for transport duty or outright gutting them. Only you have the power to stop this madness. We are in the process of restoring the astropathic choir of Dargonus. Luckily, we were forced to slay only some of the deranged Psykers, although those that remain are yet unstable, or as yet unstable to transmit messages. I hope Master Scalander will keep his word and offer you his support in the war against the Xenos. According to his reports, the region of Viabos 6 has been of particular concern in the last few cycles, which is all the more reason to discover the colony's fate as soon as possible. Ah, yes. Now, to issues of a smaller scale. There is a certain degree of tension in the capital due to the unorthodox succession of the warrant. Chances of uprisings are minimal, of course, and the spreading of rumors is nothing but a sign of weakness of mind and spirit. Nonetheless, I have prepared a list of minor houses that have demonstrated unseemly discomposure at your succession. What is to be done about them? Eliminate the most prominent malcontents quietly, but do not threaten entire families. Hopefully these steps will be enough to keep the rest of them from causing any trouble. Once your ladyship's wrath descends upon the guilty, have no doubt there won't be a soul on Dargonus willing to share their fate. And one last thing, your ladyship. Your inauguration as bearer of the sacred warrant is but a matter of time, and I would like to inquire about one crucial detail. I imagine you are intending to uphold the centuries-old tradition, bolstered by an equally long-lasting friendship, of being represented on Dargonus by one of the noble houses. I presume that, as before, this duty will be accorded to House Drivestem. Oh, this is important. A sign of very official recognition here. One moment. Which houses can represent me at the ceremony? Any of the noble houses located on Dargonus, the Drivestem family, which I lead, the Gaprak family, with long ties to the Adeptus Mechanicus, the Sauerbachs, known for their piety and diligence in service. Perhaps I should also mention the Wersarians, who have some influence, but who are not actually of noble origin. Any one of these houses would be honored to represent you at the ceremony. We're going to be a bit unorthodox here. It's going to piss him off. But that's fine. I don't think I like him all that much. I don't need to oppose him yet. He might see this as a slight. This may cause problems further down the line. But at the same time, if it causes problems further down the line, we can use that as an excuse to purge a lot of the noble families that at this point don't see us as a major threat yet. Because we're new, we're untested. And with that purge, we can put in a family that we know will be loyal to us, especially given that our dynasty is the reason they exist with any sort of prominence, and if we then give them this honor and then put them into a position of even greater power, let's just say they'll be very loyal to us for a very long time. So, I'm going to favor the Wersarians. I suppose I will bestow this honor upon the Wersarians. Abelard turns to you and growls and bows respectfully. Lord Captain, to accompany you at such a critical hour is the greatest honor for the Wersarian bloodline. Have no fear, we will not fail you. Drivestem tosses Abelard a look that lacks even the smallest shred of respect. Forgive my boldness, but I must remind you that the Wersarians, whose lineage traces back to a navy officer, are not of Dargonus nobility. Such decisions may have adverse effects on your subjects' loyalty, your ladyship. Drivestem's face breaks into a bitter smile. I shall immediately relay your commands, most gracious rogue trader. Thank you for your time.
Before you do so, tell me about yourself and House Drivestem.
It would be my pleasure to enlighten you. My house is the oldest and most respected on Dargonus. My ancestors walked side by side with yours for many generations as they cared for this world's welfare. Our duty is to supervise the governing bodies within the systems subservient to you. We are responsible for the Protectorate's logistics and economic stability. As for me personally, I am a humble servant of the Emperor and a loyal subject of the Rogue Trader. And, to my great pleasure, I had the honor of calling myself Lady Theodora's close friend. At Urban's last words, Abelard lets out a sound that could be interpreted as either a snort or a cough. Urban gives him a look, which Abelard meets with an expression of utter nonchalance. Yeah, we're doing things a little bit differently than Theodora. Our goal is not to maintain the status quo, but to create a new status quo. This is going to involve some changes. We've already enacted some significant changes on Janus. Why not do so here as well? I will run things my way. Theodora's way clearly didn't work out for her too well. I would like to complete my inauguration as Rogue Trader as soon as possible. When is the ceremony? I'm afraid that, until you deal with the pressing issues, the ceremony will have to be postponed. Many trade routes are still unavailable. The central worlds of the von Valancius Protectorate are going through a time of crisis, and the warp disturbances, if void observers are to be believed, will prevent important guests from reaching the capital. That will be all, I take it. Thank you for your time, your ladyship. Since duty calls, I shall take my leave. May the Emperor's grace be with you. Okay. Now we need to restore the operation of the administrative apparatus. Alright. Well, let's look here. An antique piece of furniture is obviously well cared for, but its surface is still covered with a lot of scuffs, scratches, and stains. Traces of the previous rogue traders who sat at this table. Somebody clean this fucking thing. What have we here? An electrified shardnet just lying here on the table. That's not a good sign. Very sketchy. What have we here? A multi-melta? Okay. Well, I know where that's going. A sturdy safe equipped with several bizarre mechanisms. Nope, there's that painting again. That's the whole thing. The cogitator is producing a rhythmic sound, among which a faint ringing stands out. The remains of a plaque can be seen on the frame. Alas, the inscription is completely indistinguishable due to the patina.
What
I don't know
a
the
peculiar
patina is,
thing.
but cool. Okay, some icons, Nightweave Silk, and another cameo. Saint. And we have ourselves some Breeze Catcher boots. Whenever the wearer moves through a cell occupied by an enemy, the wearer gains 15% dodge against that enemy's attacks until the wearer's next turn. That is going to be filthy on somebody that can use the slash ability. Unfortunately, we don't have anybody that can use the slash ability, so... the leather covers the bearer... Or, the leather cover bear the names of authors, mostly philosophers and theologians from Dargonus. The spines of the books are trimmed in gold. Okay. What is going on? I hear strange noises. There's a faint mark on the polished mantelpiece, which was likely left by a glass. That's just a door. We can open to somewhere. I guess we'll open these. See where they lead us. Balcony, huh? Just... okay. Blackness again? Did it follow us from that fucking planet? No. Okay, very, very cool. Very hive world. Look at that. Amazing. Wouldn't want to live here, but... Isn't there guards on the balcony? There's some powdered wig skulls flying around. All is as it should be, giving us a nice panoramic view of the area. Beautiful in its own dystopian way. And what about in here? What have we? Oh, it's my bedchamber. Perfect. And there's goods to be found. Yep, that's what I thought. That looked like a very suspicious wall. If it was a Dark Souls game, I would hit it with a sword. The bed for the head of the Rogue Trader dynasty is befitting the status of its owner. Interesting, flags here. There's just some awful noise happening here, and I want to find out what it is. I still don't know. But we can sit down, and there's a whole lot of stuff here. A mysterious item, undoubtedly created by inhuman hands. So it looks like a lasgun. Why is the wall bleeding? Somebody needs to get this looked at. A mysterious Xeno artifact rests in a stasis field. Can't tell what that is at all. This does look Xenos. Actually, it looks Necron. That's interesting. But that just looks like a lasgun. Some random stuff. Heretic cargo. Cool. Another lasgun. Mysterious item undoubtedly crafted by inhuman hands. Yeah, sure. Here's some inhuman stuff. Ooh. Spiral Black Obscura. Some space drugs. And, more stuff. Lots of things to be found here. Have a look. What's this? The shelves of the library are laden with dusty tomes. Your eyes linger on the work of several administratum adepts and the memoirs of some unfamiliar explorer of distant death world. Here, Adeptus Mechanicus and Eldar. Mysterious item. So that one's definitely crafted by inhuman hands. Not that one, though. That's a shock rifle, or whatever it's called. And what have we up here? More boxes. Zealot Cloak. Whenever the wearer hits an ally with an area attack, the wearer gains +1 stack of the Zealot effect until the end of combat. Zealot. The wearer deals +10% damage with their area attacks for each stack. Oh my god, that's going to be ridiculous with a flamer. And Plasma Shaper Gloves. The wearer gains +10 bonus to tech use and increases the damage from plasma weapons by 3. So if we had Pascal still using a plasma weapon, that would be quite good. We can sit down on our bench. The secret room is remarkably quiet and almost homely. Perhaps her predecessor used it when she sought complete solitude. Listening to the muted melody coming from the Vox speaker, you can easily imagine Theodora reading a book with a glass of expensive wine in hand. Can I have a... choose a book. Several books are stacked next to the sofa. Some appear ancient, while others look like they have never been opened. Theodora's data has been restored using your cogitator. Theodora's data that has been restored using your cogitator is the phrase Litanies of the Motive Force, the title of one of the books here. Well, let's have a look at that one. As you pick up the book, a hidden button in its spine clicks under your finger. You can have a glass of wine. 3 sealed bottles sit on the low table. They are labeled Grandmaster's Blood, Boon of Terra, and Flame of Purity. I want to say This is going to be a puzzle of some kind. Pour a glass of flame of purity. The wine fills the glass, glittering in the dim light of the room like liquid gold. Its tangy flavor burns your throat, leaving behind a spicy, bitter aftertaste. You hear a short, faint hum as an unseen motor stirs into motion. What the fuck is going on here? I'm gonna change the music. The vid screen on the data slate before you displays the names of several Vox symphonies. You recognize the melody that is playing right now. It is the 36 parts of the Symphony of Honor and Duty. Choose the piece Skitari Choir, the rhythm of machine and blessed metal. You hear a loud click inside the Vox speakers, and the piece that was playing earlier starts anew. A siren shatters the tranquil atmosphere in the room. Alarms have been sounded. And I've just been blasted by something. In the name of the rogue traitor House von Valancius, whomever has entered her ladyship's chambers will be eliminated. I think I failed the puzzle. Your ladyship, deepest apologies for the intrusion. Do you require any assistance? Well, on second thought, we had better just leave you in peace. I knew that was a puzzle. I don't think it worked. I think we need to look for more clues. Pretentious binding seam. Okay, the sumptuous couch upholstered in fine cloth. It appears garish, and the mellow lighting does not look uncomfortable. It's not telling us much. Let's try it again. Change the piece, The Symphony of Honor and Duty, Part 2. The music in the speakers momentarily grows louder, filling the entire room, then goes back to normal, seemingly without any change. Okay, there we go. The room responds to your actions with a quiet grinding sound, and a small nook reveals itself in the nearby wall. Inside you find a databank bearing the von Valancius coat of arms. Interesting. Small databank bearing the von Valancius coat of arms. Where is it? Old keys. We see, dates. No, that's from oldest to newest. Let's do from newest to oldest. There we go. An engraved data drive found in the cache on Dargonus. The information it contains has been decrypted. Okay. Well, we found something. Is there anything else I can do? No. That's it. Intriguing. Things clicked. Did anything else change? Doesn't look like it. Some Eldar stuff right over there. Okay. Theodora was up to something. Most intriguing. I think we can equip the entire party from here, so I'm going to take the opportunity to... Ah, we can't give him a multi-melta. He needs strength 55. Well, that's going to be easy to manage before too long. So I'd like to give him a multi-melta. This thing we don't need. It's definitely not as good as the other one we have. An extra power sword. Is this better than the power sword you currently have? Absolutely not. Would anybody use a power sword? That's not particularly good. This one, compared to the elite chainsword, no, the chainsword is better that you have. You have a force sword. We're keeping that. You don't have a melee weapon. You don't really need one. I have the double staves, so I don't need either of those either. I think we can throw this into cargo. We can throw the precise lasgun into cargo as well, as we can throw the serrated greatsword and the toxic knife and the sworn protector. I think we check to see if this has any very interesting rules. That's pretty good, but it's just not really all that useful. The flak vest we don't need. The breeze catcher boots. Yeah. We don't have anybody with slash, but in case we get somebody with slash, that could be quite good. Regular plasma pistol, goodbye, because we have a better one here. This bolt pistol. We need it. 8 to 12. This has rate of fire 4. This has rate of fire 3. This one has Max ammo 4, so it's using its entire clip for its shot, but that's fine. Like it better. Mastercrafted power maul, manufactured sword. I think we can ditch the manufactured sword, maybe. I don't know. We'll hold on to everything else. Just a quick little bit of inventory management there, and then we can head out here, which is back into the main area. Okay, so I think we just leave. This is where everybody is standing. Let's go. This should bring us to outside. And we can head back to our ship and deal with the administrative situation outside. But I think I'm going to leave that to the next episode, because we've made some significant progress here. We've discovered some interesting stuff going on in our chambers, some sort of interesting data crypt that I would like to be able to get some more information off of, but we cannot do that right now. In addition, we've at least set things up, or gained a cursory understanding of the affairs on Dargonus, and we know what we need to do. We need to check out Viabos, this planet, but we also need to check out Kiavagama. Right now I'm putting a little bit more precedence on Kiavagama, because honestly, I think the current governor is playing his own game, and we don't need to always take his account all that seriously. The inquisitorial agent, Scalander, we definitely will. He was very explicit about that. I believe him too. So we will absolutely be heeding his advice. So if he tells us to go somewhere, we're going to make that a fairly important priority. But as for Viabos, I'm just not sure like how relevant that is. He did mention some things of interest, but is that more important than Kiavagama? Hold on here just a second, guys. We're not done yet. Terrible news from Dargonus, Lord Captain. The subsidiary hive city, Scipione 84249, has been destroyed in a series of cascading failures. Production has halted and millions of people have broken their vows of obedience and are fleeing. Many of them are perishing in the wastelands and overloading the transport lines leading to neighboring hives. The surrounding residential sectors are becoming increasingly agitated by the influx of refugees. What is your directive regarding the distribution of these refugees? What is the cause of the catastrophe? It is unclear. The noble houses are throwing blame at one another. Agents of the venerable Achilles Scalander, stationed on Scipione 84249, have died heroically while trying to save the population from this disaster. Their latest reports mention some of the vulnerabilities in the industrial sectors of the lower hive, but do not go into further detail. Additionally, all of your servants are currently busy with investigating the causes of this crisis, but are not doing anything to deal with its consequences. What say my advisors? The death of Achilles' agents troubles me. It may not be coincidence. Until the causes of this disaster can be correctly established, I would avoid letting refugees into other hives. There may be saboteurs among them. I recommend setting up prohibitive cordons, where the refugees can be contained in the wastelands between the hives. Basically condemn everyone to die, because few of them might be saboteurs. The Emperor bids us to face the often cruel strokes of fate with dignity. If the other hives do not accept the unfortunate victims of this tragedy, then let the victims themselves teach those living in the hives a lesson in resilience and humility. I'm sure that the ecclesiarchy will aid the refugees in constructing camps to survive out in the wastelands and establish a community of proud desert-dwelling martyrs. Such harsh conditions will be a crucible of fortitude and fearlessness, this tragedy a feat of spirit. Okay, that's also pretty grim. The noble houses are trying to wash their hands of this. How predictable. And yet, it is their duty to see it that the planet meets its tithe obligations and it is their duty to see to it that the planet meets its tithe obligation and brings glory and revenue to the treasury in your absence. Let the aristocrats take care of the refugees and make sure they don't stop until every last refugee has some task to fulfill. I'm gonna go with Argenta in this case. Argenta, because this is So this is going... Abelard's request is going directly against Heinrich's. We've already sort of disappointed Heinrich's before, whereas Argento's request is not directly against Heinrich's request. It is keeping them out of the hives, it's just helping them out a little bit in the process. So I'm going to go with Argento's request. Argenta, see to it that the ecclesiarchy would not ignore the laments of the poor. He who dares to remain deaf to the pleas of the destitute shall be branded a traitor to the faith. Large labor settlements were set up around the ruins of Scipio in 84249, to where the refugees from the wastelands and neighboring hives have been rounded up. In the harsh wastelands scorched with industrial poison, with only a bare modicum of food and clean water, the settlement residents began the arduous and dangerous task of rebuilding their fallen home. Many of the ecclesiarchy's priests sought to share in this burden with the poor souls, coming to their villages and preaching to them about the righteousness of hard work. Some pastors have even chosen to stay in the camps permanently, where the desert cults of Aconite martyrs have begun to gather around them, glorifying the Lord Captain for granting them the right to suffer for the glory of the God Emperor. Yay. Alright, well, we have some projects here. So, our first one is Restoration. We can build a new hive city on the ruins of Scipio in 84249. So this would block the other one. Reduce our profit factor by 1. Give us +1 complacency for all colonies, efficiency for all colonies, and security for all colonies, and will give us 3 extra people. That sounds pretty good. Profit factor loss is a temporary loss that can be... This will pay for that eventually. Estasiums for the nobility. Palaces, or extasiums, will be constructed on top of the ruins of 84249 for the aristocracy. The dead and the dying will fertilize the gardens that will ring these pleasure chambers. God. Gains the nobility is perfection. Wow, gain +5 to all of my skills. That is pretty good. +2 profit factor, +2 complacency. But it's like, what a dickhead thing to do. Emporium. The surviving spine of Scipio 84249 will be rebuilt into a space elevator. It will be capped by an Emporium, excepting those ships that are too heavy to land on the ground. Root cost. I do not know what that is. It will increase our profit factor by 1, reduce our security by 1, give us 1 chemicals, 1 weapons, and +1 efficiency. I'm going to restore. This for all colonies? It's quite good. We're going to execute a restoration. We'll rebuild this hive. Okay. Well, that will be where we end today's episode. In the next episode, we will head to the Administration District, or the Administratum District, and restore order there. I don't know what's going on there, but apparently we need to go there in person to re-establish the happenings on the planet. It was quite interesting about this whole hive disaster. Just happened to be timed when we showed up. Smells like Voigtvir's work. We shall see. Hopefully, we'll be able to stop any further sabotage from happening and crippling our planet, but for now, I gotta wonder if that's something that happened because we didn't come to Dargonus first. Let me know in the comments if that is the case. Don't tell me, you know, what would have happened if we came to Dargonus first, but just tell me if I'm correct. Just a yes or no, if you know yourself, if this hive disaster was due to us not arriving on Dargonus first. Because I know that the game works in that way when you have, like, multiple directions of where to go and what to do first, which is very cool. I like that. So, yeah. We'll quickly check here. Foulstone, I think, is, yeah, we still need to go to Foulstone, but there's nothing more we can do on Foulstone. We have actually completed the Secret of the Winter Scales here. So, we have ourselves some new stuff based on that, and we can immediately set up a second thing. We can do a Cure for Sloth. Grant +1 efficiency to all colonies. Since the grimy masses are so lazy, a wise lord will add substances to their daily communion that ensure obedience and diligence. Once purified and distils, these truly miraculous plant-based chemicals will make a commoner forget their fatigue and purposeless pastimes. And once their body is burnt out and withered, they will simply be replaced by a new worker. Fine, do it. It's so horrible. Alright, but hey, efficiency for all colonies. Sounds good to me. Alright. Well, yeah. drop this video a like if you've enjoyed it. And drop this video a like for all of the poor commoners that are going to have their, you know, bodies burnt out by work overload chemicals. Rip them. They'll die knowing they did a service to me. And the God Emperor, that one too. Alright, guys. I'll catch you in the next one. Heritor out.